Hello, Firestarters. My name is Alexis. If you haven't seen any of my videos yet, whatever, go watch them on your spare time. Most likely you don't know me, but if I was to tell you one thing about myself, for you to understand that person I am, and maybe that you are too, is that I am the type of person who has always wanted to get good at many things. Call it an insatiable striver, if you will. The thing about me is that I've never been convinced that a jack of all trades is a master of none. You know that saying? In fact, as I've observed the world, I've realized that being good at many things delivers its own kind of mastery. Truly. Think about it. Someone who takes the extra time to get pretty good at, let's say, 3 to 5 things instead of 1 plus maybe some hobbies on the side, has a different breadth of perspectives by which they can then synthesize that knowledge and bring something completely novel, something even revolutionary, perhaps, who knows, to the table. It's like when you order a nice burger and get a side of cheap, meh, kind of limpy fries versus dang good, almost better than the burger fries, now that makes for a meal. Not just, hey, here's some sides because we had to give you something and make it look like something, but it's just a frickin' garden salad, you know, with no dressing. But hey, at least it looks like a meal. I've realized that in this day and age, life demands us to stand on many legs and wear a lot of different hats. So even if you are not a person with many hobbies or aspirations for greatness in many areas of interest, the truth is we are all inevitably and necessarily required to take on a multitude of roles to function in this life. Tell me if I'm wrong. Anyway, your opinion will always be yours and mine will be mine, and both are valid. In fact, for everything I say on this channel, I want to emphasize that I am flat out sharing my thoughts and nothing more. You can take them or leave them, honestly. Do what feels right to you. So yeah, with the experience that we must stand on many legs, naturally, we get conflicts between our outer demands and our inner desires. And so between those outer demands and our inner desires, it is easy for us to fragment and lose our energy and sense of self. But despite this demand placed upon everyone, little about it is discussed. We can reach everywhere for specialized content these days. I've said this before, it's readily available. Or we could take some alternative route that many people don't want to admit to, like for alternative healing or something, and such, because we all got shit to deal with, yeah. But overarchingly, no matter which path you go, integrating all aspects of oneself in a practical way, in a way that transfers to all areas of life like a common thread, is critical. It's crucial. And yet it's still so elusive to nearly everyone I talk to as to how to do this. How do you integrate all that you know? Because there is simply no scaffolding for this currently. And so I'd like to be here to share my thoughts about it, perhaps through example by the way I do some things, as will be gradually elucidated on my channel. But we will see. We will have this discussion. We will start the fire of this conversation, Firestarters. Just stick with me and share yours in the comments as well as they come up. The jack of all trades fallacy. All right, I love this topic. Let's talk about one of the most quietly destructive phrases in modern culture. Jack of all trades, master of none. First of all, that's not even the full quote. The full quote is jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than master of one. Yep, I said that. Interesting how we dropped the empowering half. huh? Let's unpack this properly, shall we? If you're someone with multiple interests, multiple skills that you worked hard all your life for, my friends, multiple passions, this narrative can mess with your head in ways you don't even realize. The modern world worships specialization. And to be fair, specialization built modern medicine, aerospace engineering, high-level performance fields, scientific advancement. If you're designing a rocket, I don't want a well-rounded creative spirit running the math, you know what I'm saying? But here's the part no one says out loud. Specialization is powerful inside of a defined system. Life is not a defined system. Most of us are not training for the Olympics. We're not neurosurgeons. We're not optimizing one variable in isolation. We're living multidimensional lives. So when someone says, you need to pick one thing, my first question is, according to which system? Corporate structure? Academic hierarchy? Social media algorithm? Or actual human development? The false assumption is that the jack of all trades, fallacy it is, assumes something very sneaky. It assumes that skills exist in isolation. But they do not. Skills are fractal. Pattern recognition transfers here. Discipline transfers into this. Timing transfers into this. Nervous system adaptation transfers. Creativity transfers. Systems thinking is involved in all this. It transfers. If you learn music, fitness, business, writing, public speaking, you're not learning 5 separate things, really. If you look at the big picture of things, actually, you're building meta skills. Meta skills. Meta, don't come after me. Meta skills compound. Meta in the sense of over-arc, okay? The real risk now, I'm not saying there isn't a risk here, okay? Know your trade-offs, and there's trade-offs in everything, so be vigilant, Firestarters. Hear me out. Listen carefully. The risk is being scattered. Scattered means you have no hierarchy, you have no sequencing, there's no system in your process, you have no clarity of what you want to do or no priority. But multi-skills as an integrated system means exactly as it is, integrated, which means structured, phased, contextual. Those are not the same thing, you see? So then why this narrative persists? Comparison is easier when categories are clean. If someone only does one thing, they're easier to rank. When someone blends fields, it becomes much more challenging because it disrupts the ranking system, you know what I mean? And modern culture loves ranking systems. It's easy, cut and dry, first, second, third, no questions asked. But innovation rarely comes from inside the clean category. It comes from synthesis. It comes from the edges. It comes from people like yourselves, perhaps, Firestarters, willing to break down some barriers here to innovate, put skills together that have never been put together before, and come up with something damn good that the world needs. And I encourage you to do that. All of you. No matter what anyone tells you, okay? Because you don't know the gold you have, maybe. The psychological layer here. Sometimes people cling to the pick one thing advice because depth feels safer. Okay, we got depth of knowledge and we got breadth of knowledge. Both are important and both have their place. If I only do one thing, I have one identity, I have one performance metric, I have one comparison lane. If I explore multiple arenas, now I must tolerate beginner phases repeatedly for each one of those areas of interest. I must manage my time intentionally. I must resist external validation structures, and I must trust, oh yes, trust in the long-term integration process. Just sit with that. I gotta sit with this for a moment. Guys, that takes a lot of internal stability, my friends. The reframe is that you don't need to pick one thing. You need to pick a structure. You need to pick something you could follow, something you can truly have full conviction in. It's all about conviction. I'll speak more of that in the future. For sure, conviction is a huge deal. And to each their own, because what's true is relative. What's truth, well, that's a different story. You don't need to narrow your interests. You need to define your hierarchy, your phases, your trade-offs, what you're willing to take, what you're willing to sacrifice, perhaps. Your context, you got to keep your context in mind. And multi-skills development, this playlist here, for one, this whole concept only collapses when everything is urgent and nothing is sequenced. That's when it falls apart. Sequencing, periodization is very, very important. We will talk about that some more too. Furthermore, identity is outsourced to comparison. With principle, strategy, and tactic, there's clarity. There's a more seasonal pulsation of thinking. There's honest trade-off making. There's more awareness in this process. And we garner it as we go. We are not only fire starters, I guess, here, but we carve the path. We are trotting on uncarved territory, my friends. And this is where breadth becomes power. Not only depth, but we need the breadth. Those funny words. Being jack of all trades is not the problem. Being structurally incoherent is the problem. And the world doesn't need more narrow optimization inside silos or something. What a good show, actually, that turned out to be. Did you guys watch Silo? The world needs people who can see patterns across domains, translate between systems, integrate skills, remain adaptable. That's robustness, okay? I go by the 5 pillars here. Vital sphere, we do this here. 5 pillars. It's the acronym VERSA. And it's vitality, energy, resilience, strength, and adaptability. And these are all pillars of the human being that we build all of them through all of these engines that we are learning about together through these playlists. One of them being this one right here, MSD, Multi-Skills Development. And it is through that angle, multi-skills angle, and all those mental frameworks and scaffoldings that we can build up these 5 Versa pillars in ourselves. So that's something I'm pushing for, and I use myself. I love it. Vitality, energy, resilience, strength, and adaptability. Who would not love to be those things? You are a superhero if you are those things. Amp those up. And so what about in volatile systems? Well, robustness beats specialization almost every time. And the world is volatile. Oh, do we ever know that? So if you've ever felt too much or too scattered because you like more than one thing, and you deeply care, maybe even have a passion for several things, you just feel compelled to do at all costs, but you're feeling torn, and that tornness is causing all this discoherence within yourself, but discoherence between your outer world and your inner world, and you're like, oh shit, and then because of that, you find you can't focus, you can't get in the zone of anything, because literally being in the zone is just being in coherence with what you're doing and what you actually want. Guys, we gotta talk some more. Just know that you don't need to shrink. Let me be the one sitting here to tell you, standing here to tell you. Give it all that you got and entertain all those burning desires of yours, no matter how disparate they seem. Because I promise you, something will become of it as long as you have your truth, your conviction in yourself, and you stay persistent about it. Because guys, work equals devotion. Work to me is not work in that traditional sense of the word. We're changing connotations here at Vital Sphere. Are you with me or not? So you don't need to shrink. You need structure. Big difference. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, Firestarters. Leave a like, leave a comment, click the subscription bell. Leave those notifications on, please. And share this channel with your friends or your family, whoever you think could find some use out of this. I'll see you next time. Have a great day, Firestarters. Keep that fire burning and entertain all your passions and drive everyone crazy. Bye.